You know, I ran just to, you know, make sure I didn't have to talk to this man, but he wasn't even standing by the exit when I came out. So I was like, surely when I turn around, I'm not gonna see him, right? Hello everyone, it's Hara in Korea, and today I am going to be telling you guys a story time that will give some perspective into the question of, do I feel safe as a woman living in South Korea? So before we get into this video, if you guys are not subscribed to my channel, I would greatly appreciate if you do that. I am trying to reach 3K subscribers by the end of the year so that I can put a sticker on my bingo board for that specific goal. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, I would greatly appreciate if you go ahead and do that, and let's get into the video. So I have made videos before talking about if I feel safe in Korea, and there are at least 2 specific videos on my channel that tell stories about when I felt unsafe in Korea. So today I am going to be adding a 3rd story time to that list. So before we get into the story time, I just want to briefly say that I do feel safe in a lot of regards in Korea. For example, if I leave my computer on the cafe table and go to the bathroom, I know when I come back it's gonna be there. If I drop my wallet at a restaurant, I can come back many hours later, it's gonna be there. I can go to the movie theater or go to my job without worrying about there being, you know, any issues with gun control. So yeah, for the most part, I feel safe. There are, you know, instances where things happen, like I think it was last summer, there was a string of public stabbings going around. So I'm not saying bad things don't happen, right? But for the most part, in my daily life, I don't worry about that kind of danger. But if you watch my other story times, one being a time when an older man harassed me on the subway, another being a time when I went outside because I heard screaming and a guy was beating up his girlfriend, and I tried to call the police, you know, attempted to remove myself from the situation while still, you know, doing my best to help this girl, and the guy literally chased me down the street for like 5 minutes. So yeah, as a woman, I do not always feel safe in Korea. So this last story time happened at the beginning of February. I was on winter vacation and I was having a relatively good day. I woke up, I was productive, I went to the immigration office, everything went fine, and then after I left the immigration office, I was debating, should I go home or should I go to the grocery store so that I can make myself a good meal tonight instead of just, you know, having something left over in my fridge. So I decided it's a really nice day outside. I'm going to listen to some music and I'm gonna walk to the grocery store, and you know, the sun was shining on my face, that winter depression was leaving my body. It was a really good day. So I get in the store, and going grocery shopping for me is a overstimulating experience to begin with, but because it was such a great day, you know, I was in a pretty good mood. Towards the end of my time in the grocery store, you know, I was picking up my last few ingredients, and a group of men all together, they're shopping together. They come down the escalator and they just start staring at me. I'm not sure, you know, what country they were from. They were not Korean, but that's not to say that Korean men have also not made me feel endangered before too. But in this particular instance, the men were not Korean. So sometimes when you see other foreigners, you know, out in public, especially where I live in a very small town, it is common to, you know, give each other a glance, give each other a look, potentially even a head nod, because, you know, I live in the countryside. So it's like, what is another foreigner doing out in the countryside? But the look that these men were giving me as they went down the escalator just made me feel so uncomfortable. And if you are a woman, you know the look I'm talking about. It looked like at least somebody in that group was gonna make it their mission to come and talk to me. So I saw them coming down the escalator. It was like a group of like 5 or 6 men. And I knew like, okay, it's time for me to get out of here. There's one last thing on my list that I wanted to get, so I went and got that. And then I took the escalator back up to the higher floor because that's where you check out, okay? So from the time I saw them to the time it was time for me to check out, it was only like 10 or 15 minutes. So I was expecting them to still be on the lower floor, you know, shopping or whatever. But when I'm walking towards the register, one of the men from the group is like walking past me, and he looks at me and he smiles and he says hi. I am trying to come off as not friendly, but also not rude. You know, I don't want to make a man mad. So I look at him, I say hi, and I quickly keep walking to the register. As I'm walking to my register, I see that the group of men are at a different register and they're checking out. So I'm thinking, well, that was a really quick shopping experience for them. I am waiting in line so that I can check out. And as I'm waiting in line, the man who originally said hi to me, he just keeps walking back and forth, like passing my line, and it made me so uncomfortable because he's walking back and forth. I am like looking out the side of my eye and I just see him like looking in my direction the entire time he's doing this. And he probably walked back and forth like I would say 3 or 4 times. And it made me very uncomfortable. So it's finally my turn to check out. The lady is ringing up all my stuff and I look towards the exit of the store that I was in and he is standing right next to the doors. You know, his friends are back here still by the checkout area talking amongst themselves and he is far away from them and standing by the exit of the store. And I see like he's not on his phone, he's not doing anything, he's kind of just, you know, pacing back and forth, and I knew he was waiting for me. You know, it made me so uncomfortable. I even like Snapchatted my friend, Grace, if you know her. And I was like, Grace, I don't know what to do. Like, there's this man and he's making me so uncomfortable. And now he's waiting for me at the exit. And I'm trying to like figure out, is there another way I can leave the store without going out that specific exit? And the only other exit would be to go up like another level and go out through the parking lot, which I felt like would be more unsafe than just going out the exit where he was standing. Now, at this point, one might say I'm not in any actual danger, but as a woman, like, you know how uncomfortable that is. I don't want to talk to this man. And if I make that known, he might take it well, he might not take it well. And I didn't want to deal with that, okay? So I pay for my stuff. I go to like a separate table and I'm putting all my stuff in my bags and I look up and I don't see him by the exit. I don't know where he went. Maybe he went back to talk to his friends. I don't know, but I don't see him at the exit and I'm like, ooh, this is great. I can make my escape and not have to talk to him. Like I was like so excited. So I didn't want to just run from where I was to the exit because I thought that might look a little weird like in the store. So I walk out of the store normally. The moment I got out of the store, so I walk out and I have to like turn around because my house is like in the opposite direction. The moment I got out of the store, I ran. Like I sprinted and I have 2 heavy bags in both of my hands and I sprinted as fast as I could. I did that until I reached the end of the length of the store, which maybe was like a block or 2, I don't know. And I think I'm in the clear. I'm like, I ran to be safe. You know, I ran just to, you know, make sure I didn't have to talk to this man, but he wasn't even standing by the exit when I came out. So I was like, surely when I turn around, I'm not gonna see him, right? But just to be sure, I turn around, this man is coming out by himself, not even with the group of friends he had originally. He's coming out by himself, hands in his pockets, walking in the same direction I'm walking in. So I just ran like 2 blocks with heavy bags. I'm tired. Okay, so he's, you know, a decent amount of space behind me. So I figure like maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe he did want to talk to me and so he came out of Home Plus and he's gonna see that either 1, I ran very quickly, so I'm in a rush, or 2, he's gonna see that I'm not by the entrance of the store and he's just gonna be like, oh, like, that sucks, missed my opportunity, and then go back and talk to his friends. So my intention was to walk home because the store is 12-ish minute walk from my house, 12 or 15 minutes. And I wasn't planning on calling a taxi. I was planning on like walking home because it's so close and it was a nice day. And also like if I called a taxi, I would have had to wait for the taxi and I didn't want to stand there and wait and potentially like him come out and talk to me. And also I really didn't think at that time like he was going to be following after me. So I'm like, okay, he's gonna see I'm like far away and he's going to eventually like go back to his friends, right? So I'm walking, I turn around, I see him still walking after me. You know, I keep walking, you know, it's been like 2 minutes. I keep turning around. He's still like walking after me, right? So at this point, I'm starting to get uncomfortable. I have now decided that I'm not going to my house because I don't want him to know where I live, and I'm trying to decide what I should do, okay? I don't just want to go into like a restaurant or something because I didn't want him to have the opportunity to come and talk to me. Like I didn't want to talk to this man at all. So I was thinking, well, if I just see a taxi in passing, I'm gonna get in that taxi, and since it's too close to drive to my house, you know, taxis in Korea don't like to drive super short distances. So I was thinking, okay, I'll just tell him to take me somewhere else far away. And once I get there, I'll just call another taxi to my house. But every taxi I passed was empty, okay? And I'm still like trying to catch my breath from that initial sprint that I did. And so since I'm walking and he's walking, he's starting to catch up to me. So I look behind me again and he's gotten closer. And so I'm like, okay, I need to start running if I want to not engage with this man. So I start running again. Like I run maybe for like another block or block and a half. I sprint as fast as I can. I look behind me. He's still walking after me. And after this second sprint that I did, when I look behind to see if he's still there, he's like waving. He's like, hey, like stop. So he didn't say this, but kind of like in the way of like, hey, I'm the guy from the store. Like, let's talk. That's kind of the vibe I was getting, but I was like, I don't want to talk. So after my second sprint, I walk for a little bit. I run for another 30 seconds, walk, run, walk. I'm looking behind me and he's still waving at me, trying to get my attention. And at this point, he has started to jog. You know, he's not full out sprinting yet, but his jog and my running were probably of similar speed because I was being slowed down by all of my groceries. So I'm starting to panic now and I am like so out of breath, my throat is starting to hurt. And I literally have no idea what to do. So I will say that I am a pretty fast runner when I am not being weighed down. So as I'm continually checking over my shoulder and he is now jogging after me, trying to catch up to me, it is making me panic like even more. Like this interaction has been going on for, it feels like quite some time now. He has been following me and now jogging after me for at least like 10 minutes. And I said my house was only like a 12 to 15 minute walk away, but I took a different way because I knew I couldn't immediately just go to my house. So eventually I decided, you know, I'm gonna go to my job. Earlier in the day, I had a meeting with my boss to discuss some extra classes. And so I knew she would either be at my job still or that she would be at this cafe that her friend runs, which is right next to the school. It's honestly just blowing my mind that he has seen me clearly turning around, huffing, puffing, and continually running. And he's still speed walking, jogging after me. Like, you clearly see I don't want to talk to you. But it was at this moment where I decided like going to my job was my best option. But I also knew I didn't want him to know where I worked, but I figured him knowing where I worked was better than him knowing where I lived, which in hindsight isn't the smartest move, you know, because what if he came there when vacation was finished and, you know, the kids were there? I really didn't think about that. And, you know, later in the day, when I finally did make it home, I did think about that and I felt kind of bad. But at the moment, I was just thinking, I don't want him to know where I live. So I gripped the bags as tight as I can. My throat hurts because I've been breathing so deeply and running. And I'm like, I'm gonna give this last sprint all of my energy. So we weren't on the main street. We were in this area, like if you live in Korea, you would know, but like kind of where a bunch of like old houses are. And there's a bunch of turns and things, and it could kind of get confusing if you don't know where you're going. I knew where I was, and I knew that if I made the right turns, I could make it to my job in a way that wasn't just gonna be a straight line, and he wouldn't know exactly where I went. So I look behind me one more time. He is getting, again, too close. And I take a deep breath, and I just start running. Okay, I'm running as fast as I can, just going for it. And I run to the first turn, I take that turn, and I look behind me, I don't see him, but I'm not stopping yet, because if I only make one turn, he's gonna know where I turned, right? So I'm like, I have to make at least 3 or 4 different turns. So I run as fast as I can, make the first turn, run again, make another turn, run again, make another turn, run again, make another turn, okay? And so by that point, I'm like, okay, that should have been enough turns. Unless he starts sprinting, like I should be pretty good to go. So I get to a crosswalk. The only thing left I need to do is cross the street and get to my job. So it wasn't my turn to cross the street. I didn't care. I ran across the street. I ran into my job. My boss was at the cafe, so she was not there, but the cafe is literally within screaming distance, or I could have called her, right? So I get there. I start taking some deep breaths. I am so tired. So anyway, eventually my boss comes like after like maybe 15 minutes. She's like, oh my goodness, like, hey, what are you doing here? And the moment she walks in, like I pretty much almost start crying to her. Like I tell her the situation and she's like, why did you not call me? Like, girl, like if something like that happens, call me. I'm like, I was running for my life, you know, I couldn't like call. But yeah, so I hung out with her for like an hour and like calmed down before I eventually like felt like it was safe enough to go home. Yeah, after that situation, like I was just so upset. I texted my boyfriend about the situation. Obviously he was not happy about it. And we kind of just agreed for the time being, like I'm only gonna be going grocery shopping with him or going to the small mart across the street from my house. And it kind of sucks because like he lives in another city, so the only time he can take me grocery shopping is on the weekend. But like, yeah, for the time being, I really don't feel comfortable going to the grocery store by myself right now. If I see this person again, like they're going to recognize me, and I don't want to deal with that, you know? It just really sucks that men, you know, if they see me with another man, they're not gonna bother me, you know? It's just like the fact that men will respect another man and be like, I'm not gonna take your girl, instead of like respecting the fact like this girl just doesn't want to be bothered anyway. So anyway, yeah, that's a story time, and that is the second time that I've had to run like a girl in Korea. If you don't know that saying, it's a TikTok thing that's been going around because people insult other people's running sometimes by saying like, oh my gosh, you run like a girl. And then women decided to take that phrase back and be like, yeah, I run like a girl. And I'm proud of it, because like when you run like a girl, it means you are literally running for your life. Like you're giving it your all. And some people might hear this story and they're gonna be like, you were not running for your life. You were in no immediate danger, you know? Maybe you forgot something in the store. Maybe this person really did just want to come up and talk to you and blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. I will not consider it creepy if I am in the store, you know, and in the first instance when I passed this guy and he said hi to me and he tried to like stop me and be like, oh, what's your name? Oh, like, you know, trying to get more information. If at that moment he had stopped and tried to get me to talk, and then I could have been like, oh, I have a boyfriend or something, you know? I don't want to talk to men in general, you know, please don't talk to me. But that would have been the time to do it. You know, that is not the creepy time. You know, sometimes I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but sometimes I do feel bad for men, because I think like, if I was a man, how would I make a woman not feel creeped out? You know, if I just see a beautiful woman in public and I just want to go up and say hi, how do I do that not creepily? Like, I feel like women are always gonna be scared of me, justifiably. So sometimes I think like from a man's perspective, like if I was a man, like how would I talk to a woman, you know? But I'm telling you right now, it got creepy when you saw me running, turning around, looking behind my shoulder, clearly scared, and you keep following me. And not only following me, after you see I am not slowing down or stopping, you start to increase your speed. That's when it gets creepy. That's when it becomes a problem. Like, so yeah, regardless of how anybody else feels about this situation, I felt endangered, I felt uncomfortable, and there's a very high chance that had this man caught up to me, nothing would have happened, you know? I could have been on my way, I have a boyfriend, not interested, could have been on my way, right? But I don't know that. I don't know that that's how the situation's gonna turn out. So yeah, anyway, I don't want women to be naive when they come to Korea, because yes, when people say Korea is safe, they're not lying. Like, Korea is safe, but towards women, you know, as a woman, don't be naive. Know that in every country, men are still men, and you know what that means. So just be on the lookout, aware of your surroundings, and as a woman, we really always have to be on guard in terms of men. So yeah, that's just my story. Not to scare anybody, just to make you aware. Thank you for listening to my story time. If you are a woman living in Korea, do you feel safe living here? Like, if you feel comfortable briefly sharing your experience, you know, as a woman living in Korea, I'm sure other women would, you know, love to read those stories so that they can be aware also. Please make sure to give this video a like. And if you're not subscribed, I would love if you guys do that. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.